number 8, we're going to start with the orange yarn again. And now, instead of doing overlay stitches as just trebles or double trebles, we're going to do front post stitches where we're actually going to come around the same color from before. So since we're doing orange now, we're going to connect to these orange overlay stitches here. So we've thus far been joining after a clump of overlay stitches. Now we're actually going to start in the spike stitch before a group. So here's a group of overlay. We want the spike before. So we're going to start here, connecting with that chain stitch right there. And that counts as our first single crochet. So we want 3 single crochets. So 1, 2, 3. So that means the next one is the one that's above this orange. We're not going to go into that because we're going to come down around this one. So we want a front post treble, which means we're going to yarn over twice for the treble and come around this orange one here. So from right to left, just right through it here, go ahead, yarn over, pull up that loop, and now just do your treble crochet. So 1, 2, 3. I like the front post stitches because they're nice and easy. You just go around the one that's down below. So after that, again, like always, we're going to skip, I know that tail's there, we're going to skip that stitch here and now do 3 single crochet into these overlay stitches, the black ones we did the last round. So 1, that didn't work. Let me try that again. 1, 2, 3. And now we're lined up ready to do the orange one over here. So a front post treble means yarn over twice, come down, go around that orange one here, draw up your loop, and finish the treble crochet as normal. 1, 2, 3. So you see we're continuing these orange front post stitches around the black ones we just used to fill in the space. So as always, skip that one in the back, and we are going to have 7 now just to finish the repeat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and drop that tail, 5, 6, and if I did this right, which is never a guarantee, my 7th stitch should be the one right before the spike stitch, which means my repeat ends here. My next repeat begins in that spike stitch, which is where we started the first one. So I love it when things begin and end on landmarks because it's really easy to see whether you did the count right. If you can see it that you're right while you're going, you don't have to undo work and go back very often. So this is what the repeat looks like, and this is a good time to comment on some tension. So if you are noticing that your overlay stitches, like here, they're coming down and you've got these sort of bumps in, and then here you got another really tight bump in, what that means is that you're doing those overlay stitches too tight. So you have 2 options. One option is to just do them more loosely, give some more yarn in there while you're doing it so that it lies at least relatively flat. It's fine if there's a little indent, but you don't want it to be really pulled in tight. If that's not working, if adding more yarn just isn't working for you, for all of these stitches, the number of times you yarn over before you do it really is irrelevant. It's just to give you enough yarn to keep the stitches up with the rest of the single crochets, to keep everything nice and level. So for example, here I'm doing treble crochet, front post treble, which I yarn over twice to do that stitch. If that's not tight, if that's not enough yarn for you, if these are pulling really tight and even when you loosen your tension it still is giving you those bumps, go ahead and yarn over 3 times before you do it. Add a 3rd yarn over and do a front post double treble. You know, if you have to yarn over 3 or 4 times, whatever you need to do to keep the work level, you add those extra loops sort of on your hook if you need to. The most important thing is that these lie as flat and as level as possible once you're all done. So again, the repeat 6 times around, 15 stitches. That's the nice thing with this. It's not getting bigger and bigger and bigger every time. Like when you do a round mandala, it's going to stay these 90 stitches all the way up. So we have right here, we have got starting in the first spike stitch before our set of overlays. We have 1, 2, 3 single crochet, then our front post treble going around the orange from below, skip 1, 1, 2, 3 single crochet, another front post going around the orange from below, skip 1, and now 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 single crochet should bring you back so that the next stitch goes into that spike stitch there. So repeat that 6 times around, and I'll see you when you're done. And we're ready to move on to the next round. You know, whenever I do these mandala based designs or inspired designs, whether it's a round one or like this, a flat one that turns into a bag, I enjoy doing it every row a little bit more. You know, with each row I enjoy doing it a bit more because you really start to see the design emerge more and more each time you add a new color to it. So it sort of gets really fun as you continue on. I hope you're enjoying doing it too. For this next one, we're going to go back to the lavender so that we can start connecting up to these lavender overlay stitches we did before. So we don't have a spike stitch to start from, so we're going to go back to the whole 6 stitches after a pair routine. So right here we have a pair of orange front post stitches. We want the 6th one after that. So you can pick any of these pairs, by the way, all the way around. I'm just going to pick this one here. So I got my pair and I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that stitch right there is where I will join in my lavender yarn. And remember, that's my first single crochet for the first repeat. So we want 4 single crochet to get us over here. So that's 1, 2, and like always, I'm holding my tail inside the stitches so I don't have to weave them in later. 3, 4. You do not have to do that if you prefer to deal with the tails later. I just, frankly, I'm a little lazy and like doing as much at one time as I can so I don't have to go back and do more work. So 4 leaves us at this stitch before the orange, which you notice lines right up with our lavender from below. So we are going to do a front post treble. So I'm going to yarn over twice. Like I said with the last round, if you're noticing that these overlay stitches are getting too tight and it's pulling your work down, instead of yarning over twice like I did here, yarn over 3 times. Do whatever you need to do to keep your work as level on the top as possible. So there is the overlay. Also with these, sometimes it helps to get in there and really pull it so that it goes up to the top of the overlay stitch below. So once we do this, remember we're going to skip the one behind and do 5 to get to the other side. So 1 single crochet, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Notice that leaves us all set up to do the next one around this purple here. So yarn over twice or 3 times if you need to. Go around. Notice I grabbed the white yarn by accident. Just be careful when you do this. You don't want to grab a hold of any of the other strands of yarn there. We just want to go clean around and draw up a loop. And now finish our treble. 1, 2, 3. Like I said, sometimes it helps to pull it up a little bit. We're going to skip this one here. My tail ready. I'm going to skip this one here and finish off with 4 more single crochet. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And that should put us in the correct position so that here we do our 1, 2, 3, 4, and notice we're ready in place to do the next overlay. So here's the repeat. I did front post treble stitches here because that seems to be enough yarn to keep things level. If you need to, go ahead and add a third yarn over to make those double trebles. If you have way too much yarn, your tension's really loose, drop them down to doubles if you need to, just yarn over once. Whatever works best to keep the yarn flat, that's what you can go with. So we started here in the 6th stitch after this pair. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's where we joined. And that's our first single crochet. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 single crochet, a front post, skip a stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, a front post, skip a stitch, and then another 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That'll leave you set to do the next repeat. So do that 6 times around that set of 15 stitches, and I'll see you at the end. Okie dokie, we are on to round 10. We're going to go back to the white yarn so that we can connect up to these overlay stitches from before. So you notice the color connects to the same color below. So we are going to start at the 5th stitch after a pair. So since I keep sort of starting with these pairs, I'm going to come over here and start with one of these pairs. I like to mix it up a little bit. One of these times I should probably start with these pairs, but it's harder to see when I start on a corner. So I want the 5th one after here. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This should be 5 right here. And boy, my hand just does not want to work right now. So we're gonna eventually join like that. That counts as our first single crochet. So we're gonna have 3 to begin. So this is 1. Next we have 2 and 3. And like all of these repeats with the different colors, you notice we're stopping with 1 stitch left before the front post. That's going to give us room right here to connect up with this outside one, the white one here. So treble, front post, so I'm only yarning over twice. Remember, if you need the extra yarn, if your stitches are tight, go ahead and yarn over 3 times. But a treble works here for me, so that's what I'm doing. So that's my treble. I'm going to skip 1 and now 7 to get to the other side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the last one, my 7th one, should be in the front post, from the last round. So there's 7. So that leaves me set up to do another overlay, a front post connecting up to this white one here. So yarn over twice, or if you need to, 3 times. Grab it, finish the stitch. So to finish the repeat, we're done with the main part, which is this lovely part here, but we do have to finish the repeat. We're going to skip this one and do 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. So that is the repeat. You're noticing you may notice it's very similar to what we did when we did the white one down here, because right now we're just sort of continuing these straight up. When we go with the next round of these, we're going to start shrinking them in more and more so that they connect up. So for this one, start in the 5th stitch after the purple front post here. We have 3 single crochet, a front post, skip 1, 7 single crochet, a front post, be sure to skip that one too, and then 3 more to finish out the repeat. So it's those 15 stitches right there. Go ahead and do that 6 times all the way around, and I'll catch you for the next round.